Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull. Thanks for being with us. And this is America's Commercial Real Estate Show. This segment's brought to you by Barnes Creative Studios. Look, if you want a video about your next commercial real estate project, visit barnescreativstudios.com. Well, today we're talking multifamily. We're calling this show Multifamily Sector Sliding with a question mark. You know, the multifamily market has really done so well. And recently I saw an article in RENTCafé by Nadia Balint. We're talking about multifamily and the rents and occupancy on suburb versus city. And Nadia is joining us on the phone today. Nadia, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about suburbia being dead, you know, and that all the new development and all of the tenants are all moving to in town. They're living in the urban environments. What do you see, Nadia?
Well, last year's Metro rent reports recurring theme that suburban markets were outpacing urban cores in terms of rent growth. Throughout the country, the suburbs were the main driver of rent growth in many metropolitan areas, according to rent data from Yardi Matrix. But on the other hand, rent rates in downtown cores and CBDs were feeling the effects of the large numbers of new units delivered in the past few years. It's true that the focus has been on downtown cores for a while, which offer a lifestyle that will continue to be appealing to a certain segment of renters. Educated young professionals, higher income singles, people for whom proximity to work is a priority. But there are also plenty of renters who can't afford or don't want an urban lifestyle. Older adults with school-age children and people of all ages with lower incomes. And one of our most recent analyses of census data reveals that, in fact, more renters choose the suburbs versus cities. From 2011 through 2015, suburban areas were clearly outpacing urban areas in 19 out of the top 20 largest U.S. metros in terms of adding new renting households.
And Nadia, some of my listeners and viewers might find that a little interesting because everyone's talking about infill, and that's where everyone likes to be. But so what are some of the drivers? So you mentioned school-age children, some of it's affordability, right?
Right. From the renter's perspective, many people prefer the suburbs because rent prices are still lower, and the selection of rental properties in the suburbs has gotten better over the last few years. Not to mention other things that people look for: better schools, more space, safer communities, things that renting families tend to put above proximity to work.
Okay. And when you look at the country overall and you look at these major cities, how much less do you see that the rents are in the suburban markets than the urban infill?
Well, we compared average rents in urban versus suburban markets in the 20 largest U.S. metros, and we found that in 18 out of the 20 metros studied, renting in suburban areas is cheaper than renting in urban areas. In the top 20 largest metros overall, renters save on average about 11% in rent, or a month's worth of rent in 1 year, if you put it that way, if they rent in the suburbs. The only exceptions of the 20 metros are Phoenix, where there's virtually no price difference, and St. Louis, where it's only slightly cheaper to rent in urban areas.
Okay. And what do you see for new supply, Nadia? How is that impacting the cost of these apartment rentals?
Unlike urban areas, which have been flooded with new apartments over the last few years, much less has been built in the surrounding suburbs. During this period of time that we studied, from 2011 through 2015, in the 20 metros studied, a total of about 300,000 new apartments were built in urban areas, versus approximately 180,000 in suburban areas, according to Yardi Matrix construction data. And as of 2015, this construction had jumped to 224% from 2011 in the cities versus only 146% in the suburban areas.
Well, that's interesting, Nadia. And so what do you see for some sample rents if you picked a city or two to see what average rents are today with infill versus suburban?
Well, the most significant savings would be seen in the nation's most expensive metros. For example, in the New York metropolitan area, those who rent in suburban areas pay on average $1,600 less per month than they would if they were to rent in the city. In Boston Metro, for example, the savings are about $800 a month. In Chicagoland, it costs about $500 a month less on average. In the San Francisco Bay Area, about $450 a month less in the suburbs versus the city.
Okay. And, multifamily certainly has had great rent growth over the last several years, Nadia. So what do you see for the trends now? Are the increases in rent starting to slow down a little bit?
Well, according to our latest rent report, which covers 250 U.S. cities, 203 cities out of the 250 we surveyed saw annual rent growth last month. Rents decreased in 13 cities and flatlined in 34 cities. So it's not so much an overall slowdown. Rather, the slowing rents are more noticeable in big cities. For instance, rents in San Francisco, New York, Boston, Los Angeles, Seattle, Houston, and the like have slowed down or even decreased since the same time last year, while rent prices in smaller cities and suburban markets are picking up speed.
Okay. And Nadia, based on your research there, what do you expect moving forward for rental increases and, in suburban versus city?
We expect for the rest of this year to see the same trend that we've seen over the past 6 months. And as far as the suburbs are concerned, the higher increase in demand in new renters will have a say in the prices of rents in the suburbs.
So the news of the death of suburbia was greatly exaggerated. Nadia, where do you see some opportunities then in the multifamily world?
Well, with this steadily rising renting population in suburban areas, that's where we expect to see more apartment communities, more transit-oriented development, more attractive suburban downtown in the suburbs to cater to this new wave of renters.
Okay. And Nadia, tell us at RENTCafé, what type of resources might visitors find at your site?
We have many detailed reports on the current state of the rental market, monthly reports, all the trends that are happening in the market, most of them from a renter's perspective. Your listeners can go to our blog at rentcafe.com/blog and browse through our collection of articles.
We'll do that. Nadia, great article. We'll have a link on our website at creshow.com. Nadia, thanks for being with us, and thanks for listening on the radio stations and iTunes and YouTube. Stay with us. We'll have more right after this quick break.